Morning YouTube, I'm Chuck Gentles and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's 24 degrees outside and it's starting to snow up here in Mayer, Arizona. It's not unusual for this time of year, so anyhow I decided to come in the shop and that's where I'm at, as you can see behind me. So today I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to roast some black sand Arizona style. Well, here we are. I just stepped outside while that black sand's heating, and you can see the snow coming down in the valley below us here and up against my pine tree. Snowing pretty good, fairly good sized flakes. No accumulation yet, but at 24 degrees, yeah, probably. So what you see here on this table is what it takes to roast some black sand. And that bucket is about a 40-pound bucket of black sand. It's, I believe that's a 2-gallon bucket. This here is a simple camp burner. I think it's just a single burner camp stove. And over here, direct from the thrift store, is a cast iron skillet you can get for a few bucks. Sometimes they're a little more, it depends on how big you get. This one's pretty big and has two handles. It has a handle here and a handle here, so it makes it easier to dump when you're done. And you're probably asking yourself, why would anybody want to go ahead and roast black sand? Well, originally what it was for is when you had your gold was in sulfides and you could roast it and get the gold out of the sulfides sometimes. Most of the time you could do it, and there are certain instances when you can't. Now Arizona's a little different. We got another different thing here in Arizona. And what it's called is desert varnish. And a lot of times when we get this desert gold, when we go out dry washing, we get material, the heavy black sand, and it may be magnetic or it may not be. You know, it's either hematite or magnetite. But what the deal is, it captures the gold and it's covered and it turns black. So you don't really see it when you're panning. You know there's something heavy there, but it's black sand and you just kind of let it go. So we've come up with this years ago, and what we do is we roast it like you're just roasting a black sand to get the gold broke out of the sulfides. And then when it cooks for a while, then we take it and throw it in a bucket of water, and you can hear it pop. And when it does, you'll be surprised at how much gold still comes out of that black sand that you thought had nothing in it. So let me get set up here and we'll get started doing this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put black sand in here in this cast iron skillet. Now this isn't pure black sand, but it's been gone through and it's been panned and got all the gold out of it we can possibly get out of it. So that's about a half a scoop, and this is another half a scoop. You don't need a lot in here. I'll probably put maybe 1.5 scoops in here, because this is a big cast iron pan. And then we'll get a bucket of water after this is really cooked and hot. And then we'll see what happens. We'll pan again and see how much gold we recover, because this is basically just pure black sand without any gold in it, because it's already been panned. So, okay, so we're lit. Oh, that's a terrible picture, isn't it? I can't get you a little bit more squared away. So this isn't going to get really hot like you're melting something. I would like it to, probably get 400 or 500 degrees. And just, just keep turning the black sand with the rod. Now this is brass rod. I'm not too concerned about because it's not going to be hot enough to melt it. Let's see, and I can actually shoot that and tell you what it is. So I think right now it's pretty cool. It's 133, 150 in places, because I just started. It's between 100 and 200 degrees right now. We'll just let it keep cooking. The longer and hotter you go, the better off you are, the more you'll release. Okay, we've been about 10 minutes now. Just wanted to show you temperature-wise. There's about 347. It's all over the place. I don't know why. 350. But look at the handle here. If I can hit it. The handle stays pretty cool, only 108. But I think I will use welding gloves to pour this. It's going to get hotter than that, so we're just going to let her cook for a little bit longer. I'd like to see it get really hot if I could. And we'll see how it goes from here. So we're about another 4 minutes into it. Just thought I'd show you a temp. We're at 542, 57. Oh, I went into over temp. We just got too hot. So yeah, we're over 500. We're pushing into the 600 here in the middle. And what happens when you do that, another little safety thing is, you'll see some of these little rocks will pop if they have any moisture in them at all. Now this sand's been dry for probably 6 months. So just had one pop here a second ago, right over here. But when they get hot like that, a lot of times if there's moisture, they'll pop out. So you got to be a little aware of that also if you're going to try this. Ignore my coat. This is my Allen Robertson coat. It's what he wears one that looks like this too, and it's all full of holes and burnt and stuff. We kind of have the same coat for some reason. Has nothing to do with this, so you can wear anything you want to. Alright, I'm back. It's probably been about another 10 minutes. And the temperature's kind of leveled off just about 480. And I'm going to cheat a little bit now. I'm going to use a propane torch and heat it a little bit more. So cheating like this isn't really cheating, but it sure helps to get your temperature up higher where you can get more production out of when you're roasting like this. The hotter it is, the better it's going to be when it hits the water here, especially for the Arizona stuff. But for sulfides, they run it up pretty hot for that also. So we'll not sure this torch or this will work high enough. See, the cast iron itself is like 360, 370. The sand from far away is $4.95, $4.99, $5.22. There's some 500, 506, 544. It's pushing 600 pretty good. And I'd really like to have it there if I can get it there, but I think my propane bottle's getting low because I can't get any more height out of it. That's why I used a torch. So we'll throw it here in a little bit and see what happens. Okay, we're running about a high 500 all the way around in this black sand. So I got the welding gloves out from the foundry, and we're just about ready to throw this stuff, so be right back. Alright guys, so we're just about there. We're going to throw it. It's been about 40 minutes. So here we go. It's kind of a letdown to watch it hit the water. It just seems like it pops in the water. You don't see much. But the object now is to go ahead and pan this thing and see how we did. See how much more gold we got out of it. Typically in Arizona we'll get another, 10-20% of whatever was in that run. We'll get the 10 or 20% more if it's in a sulfide area and or a desert varnish area. So stand by and I'll be right back and we'll do some panning. So before I start panning this out, I want to tell you a little story. We were dry washing out by Wickenburg on a claim out there. We'd been there a couple hours, and a local showed up. And he was a member of the club, so he could be on the claim. And we had been dry washing and doing fair, getting little specks and whatnot, typical of desert when you're not in a good spot. And he walked over on the claim and he talked to a few of us, and he started bending over and picking up rocks. Then he'd look at it and he'd throw it over his shoulder and pick up another one, throw it over his shoulder or throw it beside him. And pretty soon he'd put one in his pocket. Then he'd go a little bit farther and he might put another one in his pocket, or he might throw it away. So I had to stop him. I got curious. I said, what are you doing? And he says, well, some of these rocks are covered with desert varnish and they have gold in them. And he would pick up a rock and it'd be just a little 1/4 inch square, but you could see the gold shining through one corner of it. And that's one of the reasons we do what I'm doing here, the roasting. And now I'm going to take a number 8 screen and screen this material to keep the rock separate, so we can use that to see if we broke the varnish off any of the rocks, and then we'll get the fines out of the rest of the material. So let me pause this and then we'll get started. Okay, I think you'll be able to see this pretty good. I might zoom you a little bit, that might be too much, but so I'm going to take some material. I'm just going to use a tablespoon or so and put in there. And now this is a number 8 screen, like I said. And we're not going to put a lot because there's so much black sand here, and hopefully there's a lot of gold here also. So let's submerge him. And you can see these little black rocks are the ones I was talking about that he would pick up. Now, if they had gold in them, they'd be shiny right now because we popped it with heat and put it in water. And this appears to be nothing in it. So let's see what we got for fines. And this is our flower pot that we use in the desert from home. We got this at Home Depot years ago, and we still use it. And being that this is so much black sand, this is really hard panning. And you probably all know that, but especially when you're going for some small gold, you know, to keep it settled down so you can pan a little harder. I'm probably in the wrong spot for you to see much, I don't know. Now this should be, this might be just specks. I'm not sure what we're going to see here. Now this is about 3 tablespoons of material. I don't know, yeah, about 3 tablespoons I think I put in. I'm not showing anything yet, but you know, out of 3 tablespoons, if I see, there's another one right there. Now this is 3 tablespoons out of a 40-pound bucket. So this is really impressive to see just those 2. I mean, if we don't get any more than that, that's pretty impressive. That means it was covered, because this has been gone through on site to make sure that you know, we get as much as we can on site, but if we don't totally clean up the little specks, now that you can't hardly see, but looking now, and I know you cannot see this, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teeny specks, the fly poop stuff. See if there's any bigger guy. Yep. There's one bigger right there. You should be able to see that one. I can't tell if you're seeing it or not. Let me flip my deal around here. Okay guys, 2 tips. 1, don't think you're going to go through this really fast. I've been panning black sands all my life, and when you get to the point where you're trying to get the gold out of it after you've fractured it and by heating it and, you know, roasting it and throwing it in the water, you're working with strictly black sand. So I would highly recommend that you get a cleanup sluice. Oh, something like the Infinity cleanup sluice. I've seen several people do it. Flower Gold Wizards uses it. A lot of people use those, and I think it's a really good one to do this. And I think your capture rate will be more, because what you're seeing in the screen right now is the gold that I got out of 3 metal detecting scoops full of black sand after it's been roasted and panned out. Now this was already gone through on the claim, so if you're throwing black sand away, you're throwing away gold. No matter where you're at or what you're doing, you will capture more gold this way. Now I didn't get hot enough to release any sulfides, but this is mainly desert varnish or dirty gold or whatever, and it doesn't take a lot of temperature to do it, but there's a lot of gold to be recovered, but you can't do it fast. And like I said, I'd highly recommend, even if you're a good panner of black sand, I would use a cleanup sluice of some sort with a speed control, like that one from that I did in one of my videos, Northern Oregon guy that makes those. I don't remember his name right off the top of my head, but if you enjoyed this video, maybe learned something, give this a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and come back again for the next one. Hopefully you will try this and get the bottom of your pan to solid gold. Thank you so much for watching.